Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 109 of the No Clip Podcast. Frank Howley, how you doing?
Pretty good. January it feels like a good, nice, calm month, or February when this is up.
Is it? I have no idea either. We're recording this pretty close to the end of the month, but I think this should be January's one, so
Yeah.
I guess I'll squeeze it out over the next couple of days. Massive thanks to all of our incredible Battle Pass holders: Jason Drury, Cody Krieger, Sven Huster, Forrest Pruitt, Andy Fagan, Cameron Ladd, George Dakotas, Jacob Godserv, and Toyo Tiliev. On this podcast you're about to listen to, myself and Frank Howley really just brainstorm the crap out of what would we do if we could make our own video game website. What were the video game websites we enjoyed in the past? What are the sort of technical and social and cultural aspects of those things that we would do if we had a big pot of money and a bunch of time? And we went some places, didn't we, Frank?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
We dove into the world of GameFAQs and Giant Bomb and GameSpot, and this is all off the back of just like a weird month or two for games coverage and what sort of I think a lot of us are perceiving as like sort of the slow atrophy, the slow death of some of our beloved video game properties, and just generally what's going on. Like I look at 2nd Street in San Francisco. They used to have IGN, GameSpot, and 1UP on it. And now none of them are there, and they're all in tiny offices somewhere else, owned by large corporations. 1UP doesn't, because they're gone. Although most of their staff are still around here. I had lunch with 2 ex 1UP people in the past month, one in LA and one in Oakland, so they're all around. And IGN, I guess, are still doing well, but they're basically transitioning to remote at this stage. They have a tiny little studio, and that's it, I think. So yeah, big conversation about that. So here's a clip of it if you're listening on the public feed, and if you're listening on the patron feed, head over to patreon.com/noclip and you'll get access to all of our bonus episodes, or all of our extra ones, and you can listen to all of it. And now here's a transition. Bye. Video game websites, Frank. Video game websites. I'm your therapist. We're sitting down. I say the words video game websites. What is the first thing that comes to mind? Tell me about your mother.
I was having these I was thinking about in the shower, but like GameFAQs is the one that comes to mind as like the most pure. I don't use, well, maybe I do use it these days occasionally, but back in the day, GameFAQs was pure. I think because it was entirely user generated, or it was like the walkthroughs, the message boards, which were like so loose, but the thrill was like anytime there's a new game, like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was just playing the game on my PS2 on my TV, and then like I don't know, every 10 minutes clicking refresh on GameFAQs to see if anyone discovered something. And this is before people had access to sharing pictures or video, so you just had to take people's word for it, which is how people would spend weekends looking for Bigfoot in San Andreas.
I remember,
even though,
yeah.
And ghost, like so many dumb rumors, but GameFAQs was one of the first things that came to mind.
Did they stick Bigfoot in 5 in the end? Wasn't that?
I think they eventually, yeah. And then no, what they did, maybe it's in 5, but it was Red Dead Redemption in the DLC. There's a whole,
there you go.
You do missions for Bigfoot, and it's like, and then by the end, it's
was
like,
that Undead Nightmare? Was it?
Yes,
in that?
which is Undead Nightmare.
Terrific.
Super, yeah. That's amazing.
One of the best DLCs ever. The 4 Horses of the Apocalypse. It was something else. GameFAQs. Yeah, I was a GameSpot guy, and GameFAQs was also owned by, I don't know who owned them before CBS. I forget. It's not coming to mind anymore. Was it? No, Ziff Davis was IGN, but ZDNet was with CBS for some reason. But I was a big GameSpot forums, and GameSpot, they had GameSpot user profiles. So you had your own user profile on GameSpot, and this was like back when the internet was fucking cool. I had no idea that we had peaked in cool shit, but it was you had like a blog, but you could upload images, you could upload videos, and they had this emblem system where they basically gamified GameSpot, where like if you read interviews or read articles or posted in the forums or whatever, you would get these little badges associated with your user account saying like, oh, I replied to 10 threads, I started 10 threads, I have watched, all of these videos, to the point where at E3 there would be special emblems for watching Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. I remember one year, a mate of mine in the forums, Carl Duran, Sidburn19 online, I was working, so I got him to log in with my account so I could get the emblems that year. But it was awesome, and then that's basically how my career started. Was they had a special emblem that if you were like a sort of I don't know, notable member or somebody who published a lot of blogs, that you would get this this little editorial badge, and basically whenever you published a blog that was tabbed, like sort of categorized as an editorial, you got on the front page of GameSpot.com. There was like a little user stuff thing, and it would go there. And I remember one time I had, instead of like uploading an image for my profile picture, I had it going to my website, my web server with a bunch of websites that I was hosting for clients of mine back when I was like, I had a web design company when I was like 15, 16. And the entire thing crashed in like an hour because like that little tiny 16 by 16 image got like pinged by the GameSpot homepage like something like 2 million times in the space of 3 hours or something. Like, and I was like, that's how many people got, and that's how I ended up like getting to know the GameSpot people. And I had the only person who had a more popular blog on GameSpot was Gerstmann.
Oh wow.
So it was like, yeah, and I just, outside of it, like, whatever, my stupid blog, and my writing was terrible, my stupid blog was popular or whatever. That's where I met, like, Timur, and that's where I met Carolyn Pettit and Kevin Van Ord, and some people who ended up working in games, and some people who didn't. Mark Craven, a guy I did stuff for years with, and Joe. There's so many people that, like, yeah, it just felt like community and good and shit like that. What about GameFAQs? Was GameFAQs the one for you? Because obviously you've done Mega 64 and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's so funny. In my teen years, I always think about like the communities where I started and then where I gravitated towards. So like the first internet community I was a part of was Newgrounds, which like was, Flash, but it was the message boards, and on the message boards we would play Halo 2 together when I was in 8th grade. And so that was fun. And then even Newgrounds, they went into game development with they turned into the Behemoth and did Alien Hominid, Castle Crasher, Stems from Newgrounds.
I found a tape in the tape stuff yesterday that had all that shit written on it. It was like they clearly went to visit them. Yeah.
So I had Newgrounds, and then I was 13 at the time, and but also the minimum age to sign up was 13, so everyone said they were 13. But I just imagine it was everyone in my age range. Like it was all high school kids acting we were higher and mightier than we were. And same thing, there was every day you could vote on 5 Newgrounds flashes to get XP, and my friends would do the same thing when they'd be out of town. We would trade each other's passwords, so we would get each other's credits. Which
so what you voted on just random polls and you get user XP.
So the Newgrounds had a system, and I think they still do it this way, or I forget, but back in the day, Newgrounds, they had the Flash portal, because web hosting wasn't free, but it was you could submit your cartoon or Flash game to us, but the users have to vote, and if the majority of users said it sucked, it would get blammed, which means it would be deleted from the web portal. But if it was saved, if it was you just had to get above a 2, then it would be preserved, and then there was a leaderboard, almost like IMDb top 250 of the best Flash games, cartoons, and stuff like that. And so I would always just go to my favorite, Legendary Frog was a guy who made Resident Evil cartoons every day, and just okay, here's 5-star, 5-star, 5. You'd vote on your favorites, or if you were sociopathic, you'd vote 0 on every new art that came into the Newgrounds portal. And it, that in itself is a whole massive culture, which we could talk about forever. But so I like Newgrounds, but it was wild. I mean, that's also where Goatsy and stuff like that was posted without any that was just welcome to the internet. Here's Tub Girl. It was oh, cool, all right. It's weaponized with memes at an early so there's that. But to fulfill video game hunger, GameFAQs is where I got my sustenance of cheat codes, walkthroughs, whatever. And then I'm trying to think and then through GameFAQs, there was a secret portal into Lou Links, which was more file sharing.
Right.
But then the other website I gravitated to, by end of high school or in college, was Something Awful, and that felt even though you had to pay $10 to get in, the games forum of Something Awful was oh, everything is pretty well written. There would be these really big topics. There was really good communities, goons, and same thing. We were all internet chaos,
Yeah.
So there was a lot of trolling and stuff like that. But I felt I was entering game discourse at Something Awful. Was oh, people are writing about games well.
That's
and then
funny.
Eventually,
There's so many people. Sorry, just so you mentioned that. There's so many. I was never a Something Awful person, but it came up on the podcast we recorded yesterday or a couple of days ago with Voidburger that she was in that community, and also I believe it was H Bomber Guy was in that community. There was a bunch of people who yeah, we're in there. It was like too hardcore for me or something. I don't know. I got scared. I was okay with like, I went on like those. I liked some of the hardcoreness of some of those websites or the meme-ness. I remember being a "you're the man now, dog" kind of dude, but something awful for some reason. It just was too much for me.
That reminded me, I think that's the Mega 64 connection. Rocco.
Oh, really?
Mega 64 got their first DVD publishing deal through Something Awful Video, or they called it Awful Video. So like, and so that's I think how Mega 64 was on my radar also. And then I think even when and then Rocco would occasionally write articles for Something Awful. So it and now YouTube is prevalent, and then Mega 64 and YouTube would be like a huge significant chapter. But it's like places like Newgrounds, Something Awful, message boards where the spaces were like, again, now everyone is a content creator. Everyone has social media, but that felt like the place where teenagers or users of the internet could just upload and make stuff and experiment being funny, and everything was in its own little isolated like message board. So you could do something flop, get trolled out of existence, and then pop up on another message board. And I feel like I don't know, there's something kind of like old, like West, Wild West, right, new towns with the moderators of the sheriffs.
Change your name,
And so I thought it was like, and I don't know why I gravitated towards this, but like by the age, I don't know, 15 or 16, I just used Frank Howley everywhere. I think I was like, I don't know if it was me going against the grain or me being so conceited that I thought like I'm gonna be great one day. This is my name, whatever. Yeah.